I was kidnapped by ISIS on August 3rd, 2014. I was at our house in Sinjar with my family. We didn't know they were attacking Sinjar. Once we found out, we tried to flee to the mountains. ISIS caught us before we could reach the mountains. I was with my brother's family, two of my children, and my husband. They took all of us back to Sinjar and took all of us to the offices. ISIS had taken over the offices and kept us there. I was kept outside and he was inside. We were in the same office till 8 p.m. After that, we were separated. Then they took us to Baj city. No, we were kept in Baj city for 4 days as they started taking girls for themselves. Some girls would hide in the washrooms. Later, they took us to Tel Afar city. They were put in madrasas. Even there, the ISIS men kept taking girls. I was captured for 2 years. After they took them to Tel Afar, they took them to Badush jail. There, they starved them with barely any food. After that, they returned to Tel Afar with many families. There, they told us to convert to Islam. We refused. After a day, I saw my brother. I tried to call him. He told us to do whatever they tell us to do. Then they told me if I converted to Islam, they would not kill the men. So I agreed. There were lots of families. They forced them to work on the fields and care for the sheep. For 8 months, I was with my husband in Tel Afar. Then they separated men from the girls. Then they took all of the women and children to Syria. We were jailed underground. They wrote down all our names, counting the women and children, so they could sell us. Later, there was a big explosion. They had to move everyone. I was taken to a police station. We were kept there for 1 week. There was no light in the underground jail. We could not eat. We suffered terribly for that 1 week. The guards included a Saudi, a Tunisian, a Sudani, an Indian, and another. Sometimes they would read out names and we had to raise our hands if called and go. I was there for 40 days until my name was called. I was sold to a doctor and taken to Raqqa. I was taken along with another Yazidi girl and kept in an apartment with her. After 3 days, I was given away as a gift to an Iraqi man named Saif. I was raped and tortured and beaten. For 1 month, I was treated like this. He raped and beat me regularly. ISIS, they killed all the men and took their wives just to rape them. When it was Ramadan, I was forced to fast, even though I had to do all the chores around the house. After a month, he gave me away like a gift again. I suffered a lot, but I didn't care if I died. They wouldn't let me escape. I was in a single room with no windows, with the door locked. I couldn't see my children, but I endured for their sake. They wouldn't let me sleep with my child. I lived with a man from Baghdad for 8 months. He was like the others. He raped me, beat me. There were no clothes for me or the children. They are all the same. They brought food, but never enough. At the time, my daughter was 1.5 years old. My son was about 4. From that time, they were taking him to the madrasa, teaching them how to pray and read the Quran. After school, they'd take them to the police station and show them beheading videos. They wanted to make them get used to violence. Sometimes they train them to shoot guns and fight. I still have nightmares that ISIS would come and take me again. I've shared my stories a lot of times. It's important that I tell the story of my suffering. If I don't speak now, when will I speak? When I got to Raqqa, I managed to contact my brother. He got me out through a smuggler. We paid money to get me to Kurdistan. I was bought and sold by 8 men, Iraqi, Saudi, Lebanese. I escaped after the Iraq guy. I contacted my brother after visiting a friend who had a phone. He connected me to a smuggler. I waited till my Lebanese captor went out and escaped from the house to meet with the smuggler. I feel good to be home with my family, but I've still lost so many. I cannot forget what happened to me. Despite our suffering, nobody cares about us. We have shared our stories, but even then, they have not done anything for us.